Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Sorry, I started a little bit late than usual, a couple minutes late. I was trying to make the room brighter. It didn't work. Believe it or not, I have every single light turned on over there, and then I opened all these windows that are facing towards me over there. Still nothing. It's still super super dark in this one corner. It's like I'm doomed. I'm doomed whenever I'm going to record or stream or anything. It's always going to be in like the darkest corner of the room, it seems. I mean, I guess it could be worse, right? It's not as dark as it could be, but I did my best, is my point. I did my best to make this look like the most natural, nice lighting. And it's only going to get darker from here because the sun is going down. But this will work for now. I hope everybody has had a fairly good week, right? Let's see. How's the weather been? Weather's been good. Weather has been good. You know what? It's finally starting to get cooler out. We're finally starting to get that fall weather, which means I have to like drag all of my clothes for cold weather out of the closet and then put away all my summer clothes. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But I prefer the cold weather as opposed to the super hot weather. That transitional period from warm to cold is always the best because it's always like the top tier walking weather. You know, if you want to go outside and take a nice walk, it's perfect weather for that because it's not too cold, not too hot. It's just kind of in that mid section. It's perfect. Anyway, so we've done our duty of talking about the weather. We got that out of the way for the beginning of the stream. Oh, happy birthday to Free63. I hope you are having a very good birthday so far. Yeah. But yeah, we do have a couple things that we can look at for this Friday stream. So that's super exciting, right? Last week I was just kind of spitballing, but now there's a bunch of different funny things or interesting things, I guess, that we can take a look at. We've got some anime news that would be pretty fun to talk about. Man, I don't even know. There's this one news that I'm like, should I save this for a video? Should I not react to this on stream? Now I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I should save that for a video. Maybe that's good enough that doing a reaction would be funnier than covering it on a stream. It's one of those, you know? It's one of those. But there are some things that we can take a look at. Let me do a nice share screen. So, how you guys feel about this? I'll let you take this image in, and you try to decide what's happening here. Whoever can piece this together, feel free to tell me. Let's see, Staying Home is a Muppet Show 50th anniversary. I don't know. I don't really keep up. Anyway, so this is Solo Leveling and Frieren coming together. I don't really know the details of this collaboration, but very curious. Very curious. Tales of Arise? Yeah, I guess so. Because it did say like Arise down here, right? Yeah, Arise. It does kind of look like The like, what is it? Like a video game cover. But it doesn't really, just this post alone is not giving me like a whole lot of information in of itself. It just says Solo Leveling X Freerun new official collaboration announced. And then you would expect, okay, well, is there like an article? No, didn't link an article. It's just that. That's kind of the only issue with like reacting to any kind of news really on Twitter, is that they don't give you all the information. Sometimes they'll just make a post and you'll be like, oh, what's that about? Who knows? Who knows? There is no more information to view here. What are you gonna do? Rocking the Wednesday Addams look. What, braids? You have to be Wednesday Addams to wear braids. Sounds like a game to me. Solo Leveling Arise is a mobile game. Okay. Alright. I see. Interesting. So what do you think the thought process is for adding Freerun to it? It's like a little bit funny in a way, because I know Japan really does not like solo leveling. Which, I get. It kind of, a lot of Korean and Chinese works definitely have an anti-Japan angle to them. They are essentially trying to steal the anime industry out from Japan, and it's like this race to try to take anime away from Japan and become the new powerhouse of anime, which will make a country kind of spiteful towards you, of course. But they do like Freerun. So perhaps they're trying to get more people on board with solo leveling stuff. Who knows? Probably to get more money. Well, yes, of course. I'm wondering, like, how, why this collaboration of all things to collaborate with. It's curious. It's just curious, that's all. But that is a thing. So I'll save this other news, this other anime news, for a video maybe. It's very goofy, and maybe the goofiness is like just the right amount though for a whole video based on it. What else is going on? Oh, we got One Punch Man Season 3 coming out. I already kind of talked about that, though. Apparently, Crunchyroll had some issue with their subtitles recently. And they swear that it has nothing to do with the fact that they changed who was doing what company was doing the subtitles for them. They say that it was like an issue with the website itself or the host itself. It was some sort of technical issue. We swear it has nothing to do with anything else, with us using AI or anything like that. I'm a little bit sus, but not so sus that I would say that they are 100% lying. Because I could see some sort of website error causing a problem with the subtitles. If it's just some video processor that they use that puts the subtitles on, which I assume that it is, but... Oh, hey, Mark, thanks for the 20. Daughter married, hit deer with Jeep, now I'm back. Well, sounds like one hell of a day. Oh man. Let's see. Solo Leveling leans a little too hard on hyping up the previously weak main character. Reminds me of One Punch Man with less interesting side characters. Ooh, big criticism. You know, I've never actually read all of Solo Leveling. I watched the first episode of the anime with a couple of friends because, you know, we were curious, oh, how's it going to turn out? Adam has read a good bit of it. I don't think he's read it all, but he's read enough of a chunk of it that he could give an opinion. And he said it was pretty good overall, but I guess obviously not good enough because he's not still reading it. He dropped off at some point, anyways. But yeah, the first episode that I watched was like fine. It was okay. It was perfectly good. It didn't exactly blow me away or anything, but it was perfectly good, right? Japan mostly just doesn't like it because of the anti-Japanese angle that they go at, so, which is understandable. Oh yes, Crunchyroll's screwing with the quality of subtitles and implementation. Yeah, supposedly it's due to them making the people use a new software for the job. Well, they came out and they were like, "Oh no, it's not because of that. It's because of some sort of like internal technical error." I think is what they said specifically. Actually, maybe I can find the article so I can stop paraphrasing. Like I said, it's rough because I find these articles just on my Twitter feed, and then once you see them once, you'll never see them again. It's hard as shit to find stuff on Twitter. Okay. Let me see. This might be it. Over the past few days, some users experienced delays in accessing the content they wanted and subtitle issues across certain series. They were caused by internal system problems. What the fuck does that mean, right? What does that mean? Apparently, it means something too complicated for us to understand. Not by any change in how we create subtitles, use of new vendors, or AI. Those internal issues have now been fully resolved. I don't know. I wouldn't go as far to say that they're definitely lying. What they could mean by this is the video player. Like when you make a website, you usually have like all kinds of different plugins and different processes working to make the whole website work. So whatever plugin they're using to actually play the videos for you, or play the episodes in this case, it itself may have just had like an update lapse. Maybe. And maybe because they didn't update it in time, the subtitles got fucked up. I'm not 100% sure because it was not an issue for all of the anime on the website, from what I understand anyway. It was an issue just with like newer episodes that were being added to the website. So it was not an all across the board problem with the video player itself. So I don't know. It's not enough for me to say that they're 100% lying, but it's a little bit sus. Could totally be just them having problems with their new AI software that they're using, because they are using a new AI software to translate their anime. So that's what people are going to be pointing to blame, because that's the one thing that has changed recently. It is what it is. But, you know how it is. Yeah, Crunchyroll's response is a non-answer to anything. Yeah, it seems like that. Let's see. It means that it's like external system problems, but these are not on the X part of the terminal. Yeah, there you go. Delays occurred for new episodes appearing on the service, kind of conflicting as Hulu somehow got the episodes ready way before them. That's kind of funny. If it's a video streaming problem, that's not surprising considering the history of their service. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, people are going to blame the one thing that has changed about Crunchyroll. That's just the way that it goes. I made a tweet yesterday, I guess. But for me personally, I've noticed that, well, subtitles have gotten a little bit worse. I think manga translations also have gotten a little bit worse, and that kind of just comes with a lot of these companies moving towards AI to translate things instead of like asking an actual person, hey, what does this mean and how can we best translate this so that it makes sense? Oh, no, we're not going to do that, guys. We're not going to do that. That's crazy. Never ask a real person. You got to ask the robot. Anyway. So I have noticed like both subtitles and also like manga translations not really being as great as they should be, not really 100% making sense, grammar being super fucked up, and just confusing lines that I have no idea what the heck it's trying to say. But I've also noticed in general, recently, some dubs, in my opinion anyway, feeling like we're also dropping quality in the dubbing. Now, granted, we've always been kind of having issues with dubs. Ever since dubbing started in the United States, we've always had issues with dubs. And where those issues lie usually was in the translation. Everyone would always be complaining about the translation, which is fair. And I do think the translation overall throughout the years has gotten better. I know they're sneaking in random ad-libbing and political things in there, but overall it's gotten better. Like you look at some of the early dubbing of some even Funimation shows, and you see the localization. It's a blaring, obvious localization problem. Whereas nowadays they're trying to make it a little bit more accurate. At least they can acknowledge now that a lot of these shows take place in Japan. Before, the localization was so bad for some of these anime, they wouldn't even say that the show is supposed to take place in Japan. They kept on like trying to pretend that it was in America the whole time. Very strange. Very strange. I don't understand the thought process of that kind of localization where we have to pretend that we're actually in America. Oh, this is actually New York, guys. I was like, what? I know that other countries exist. I'm not that stupid, guys. But yeah, the infamous Pokemon jelly donuts, stuff like that. Yeah, sure. But it's something I have noticed is even though the translation overall has gotten better, it's moved in the right direction overall, I think the voice acting has become so much more standardized to the point of not having nearly as much character in it as it used to have. Like even older dubs, despite the fact that they have worse translation, sometimes I notice that they have much better voice acting. And a lot of this can also be blamed on like what director is working on the show, for sure. I'm not saying that any old anime will just automatically have good voice acting. That is obviously not true either. But there are also people pointing out that a lot of these new voice actors coming on the scene and getting these jobs are not actually in it to be actors, voice actors or otherwise. They're influencers that just start LARPing as voice actors because they think, oh, it's an easy job. I can just say a few lines, and I just say it in this like parody like anime voice. Like, all I gotta do is sound cool, right? And then that's like anime, you know. And I just keep on watching. I don't. Okay, I know that I have to lower my expectations for dubs in general. The reason why I watch dubs over subs sometimes is not so much because I think the dub will automatically be better or anything like that. It's because I like the ability to be able to look away from the screen occasionally. I like being able to passively watch something as well as actively watch something. Especially when I have to do work on the computer. But I want to watch a show at the same time. It's just very beneficial for me to be able to hear it instead of having to glue my eyes to the screen to watch something. But anyways, yeah, I could voice act. I guess so. All I gotta do is the anime cool voice, right? But there's a couple of recent shows, not even like super old shows, just recent anime that I've been watching because I've always been curious about it and just never picked up the manga, so decided, okay, I'll start with the anime. And I'll select the dub. And there's so many moments where these voice actors, they just don't have their heart in it, quite frankly. But also I do wonder, like, how bad is this directing that they can't even push these people in the right directions? Like, sometimes a line will just be delivered with no consciousness of what is even happening in the scene. It's like they don't even know what's going on or what emotion they're supposed to feel when they're like saying this line. It's preposterous. Oh my god. And it's not like every voice actor in the show is bad either. Some of them are like seasoned veteran voice actors and they usually do a good job. But then like all of a sudden you'll just get fucking wham hit in the face with this terrible voice actor who's just no idea what they're doing, no idea like how they're supposed to say a line at all. It's like, fuck. And then it just like goes back and forth between good voice actor, bad voice actor, good, bad, good, bad. And like, man, I don't even know how to feel about this dub anymore. But yeah, I keep on running into that problem. I don't know if anyone else has, but that's something that I'm dealing with right now, personally. At least Digimon Dub wasn't afraid to say Japan. Oh man, that's crazy. Digimon was ahead of its time, guys. Confirmed. Yeah, I haven't paid attention to dubs lately. Understandable. Late 90s anime dubs seemed okay at the time. Yeah, I mean, not all of them were... I wouldn't even say they were all bad, honestly. Even when it's a 90s anime dub, I'm still surprised when I find one that's bad. It's like... what was that one that I reviewed not too long ago? Lost Universe. Lost Universe should not have been that bad. It just was. It just was a bunch of people who didn't care about what they were working on, and they just did a bad job on purpose, you know? It felt like spiteful how bad of a job that they did on on that show. But it didn't have to be bad. It didn't, you know? There were other dubs that existed around the same time as Lost Universe that were good. And they could have just done a good job. And they just didn't. That's what was frustrating about it. That's why I really like despised that dub. Despite it being like ridiculous and like kind of amusing, but you know, you could have just... You get paid. The least you could do is do a good job and do something that you're proud of, you know? But what are you gonna do? During Weeb Wars, some insiders at Funimation said that most of their VAs were only in it because they think it's a stepping stone into Hollywood. Well, that's like fine. That's fine. Um, Voice acting is a type of acting, and if you want stuff on your resume for like an acting career, that makes sense. At least you're trying to. At least you're actually trying to be good at your job. I don't like it when it's like the other way around, right? When it's just a celebrity who just does voice acting not because they're good at it, not because they care about being good at it or anything like that, but just because they're profiting off of their name. They're profiting off of the fact that they've already had success in other fields, and so therefore, oh, voice acting, just another paycheck for me. You know, many of those people, and I know that there are exceptions, but many of those people don't actually care about doing that good of a job. A lot of them are just going to phone it in. People who are voice acting because they want it to be this glowing thing on their resume, they're still going to do a good job. They're still going to try because they want it to be a good example of their work. So I don't necessarily hate that people are doing it because they want to proceed to other jobs or other job avenues. Be it Hollywood or somewhere else, you know? But 4Kids were underrated. They went overboard with localizing that every character's voice was full. Hey, that's true. You can't deny that they made every character sound very distinct. That is very true. Man, 4Kids has enough distinctness with their character acting that people would be enraged if for the Yu-Gi-Oh movie they had not gotten those actors to come back to reprise their roles, which is usually a good sign. If your voice acting was so distinct and so memorable that people will riot if you don't come back to revoice that character, that's usually a sign that you did a good job. Honestly. Although, honestly, I think part of it is mostly the nostalgia factor. But there is a certain charmingness to how they voice the characters. And, you know, I don't even exactly hate the 4Kids version of a lot of those shows. Maybe that's a little bit of a... I don't know, maybe that's a little bit of a hot take, but I don't even necessarily hate the 4Kids version of Yu-Gi-Oh! I understand that it's not good localization. It's not authentic, but I don't think that it's really that bad. It is not very deserving of hatred because you can understand why they made the changes that they did. Obviously, they went overboard, like you said, but it doesn't feel spiteful. There's sometimes when they ruin a dub, it feels like spiteful, like they're trying to make it bad on purpose. Like Lost Universe, it feels like they were trying to make it bad on purpose, and that's not nice, But yeah. Despite some dumb changes, I do like how how much 4Kids puts into Pokemon. Yeah, another fun thing about the 4Kids stuff is that they try to put in their own soundtracks for each of the shows that they were dubbing, and Funimation used to kind of do this too. Or Funimation would try to localize the original soundtracks, right? But 4Kids would try to redo all of the soundtracks, and that's impressive. That's very ambitious, honestly. They don't have to do that, but they went overboard a little bit when it came to the localization. I don't even think that their new soundtracks were that bad. Honestly, the Pokemon theme song was fucking fire. I'd even go as far to say that a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh songs, they were cooking. I have Music to Duel By on CD. What of it, right? I listen to that shit in the car. You can't judge me. But no, some of them are actually they're decent. Granted, it's very like of its time, early 2000, but I like it. I enjoy it. I appreciate the hustle. Yeah, it's not the best thing in the universe, but like it's fine. Now they don't localize the music at all. They just keep it exactly as it is. Maybe that's better. I think that's fine. I also would have liked it though if they continued to do dubs of the songs. That's a personal preference thing, right? I liked some of the dubbed versions of the songs personally. I thought they were pretty cool. Remember when like Funimation did 4Kids, or no, Funimation took from 4Kids One Piece, redid that dub, right? And then they also did a dub of the original opening song "We Are," and that's decent. I like it. They did a good job. I think so anyway. I think they did a pretty good job dubbing that song. And I was like, man, they should do this all the time. But you know what? One Piece is 1,000,000 episodes long. And there's 1,000,000 songs to be dubbed if you're gonna go that far. And I don't know when they decided to stop doing that exactly. But at some point they were like, it's not worth it. At some point they just didn't want to hire any singers anymore. They just didn't want to translate the songs. It was too hard. Darn. Man. I mean, I'll enjoy the original in Japanese, of course. I don't mind. But it would be kind of cool if I could sing along with the lyrics without learning Japanese. I'm sorry that I'm in soft focus right now. It's just a thing with this camera. It's because it's kind of dark. That's what it is, really. It's kind of dark in this corner. I tried to brighten it up as much as possible. And it seemed like whenever I record a video or a live stream anywhere, it all of a sudden, boom, turns super dark. Or maybe I just always work in dark corners of the house. Maybe it's a me problem. I am in another corner right now, funny enough. So, okay, it might be a me problem. Maybe if I like do one of these, will it refocus? Nope, it just refocused to be soft again. It was like in focus for a second there, and now it's sorry. I guess we'll learn not to care about that. Zatch Bell English soundtrack was really good. I've never seen Zatch Bell. I remember Adam like making fun of how the main character ran in Zatch Bell, though. That's the extent of my knowledge. But yeah. I honestly thought it was just my eyesight. No, you're perfectly well in that regard. Anyways, the darkness follows you. It feels like it. May need a new lighting setup. Well, this is not my normal setup. I'm recording down here because the place I normally record is off limits at the moment. But we'll get back to there maybe next time. Hopefully next time. We'll be recording in the usual spot. As far as new videos, I tried to get done a new video this week. It just wasn't going to work out. I was considering like really trying to grind it out like the day of where I normally upload, but at the end of the day I was just like, man, what am I doing? Am I really gonna like ruin my morning over this video by just like stressing myself out and pushing it out super fast? No, we'll just do it next week. So that's what I decided to do. But it is recorded, it's ready. I just gotta finish the editing, and the editing is the most lengthy part. Yeah, it's People are not lying when they say like the editing takes the longest when it comes to these videos. I'll record a video and it'll usually be about like half an hour or an hour long, usually. Occasionally for those, I don't know, those extra long read throughs, it'll be like 2 hours, right? But usually half an hour to an hour. And then actually editing it, that's like 5 hours out of my day. That's a good solid chunk of my day just editing it. Probably more than 5 hours. It depends. It depends on the video itself, but it takes fucking forever. It's, yeah. Very, very rough stuff. Let's see. Yeah, Zatch Bell had fun characters too. Detective Conan, yeah, oh my god. Controversial take, here it comes, guys. I love the Detective Conan dub, the original. I love the original Detective Conan dub. I know, they localized the shit out of it. I don't like the localization part. They could have just acknowledged that they were in Japan. There's no reason why they had to pretend they were in America, right? But the voices for the characters, oh, so good. They added so much character to the characters, really. And you know, funny enough, Viz Media, they still, for the manga, they still use the dub character names rather than the original character names. Isn't that funny? You would think that they would want to like update and adapt to the fact that there's the new Detective Conan dub now, and they are using the original names. And you would think that, okay, well, is the manga gonna start like changing their updates to do the original names now instead? But no, they're sticking with Rachel and Jimmy. To be fair, he does look like a Jimmy. It does fit him a little bit. Nah, I do. I love that dub. I wish they had dubbed more episodes, because now I'm past the point they finally stopped dubbing it, and I'm past that point, and I'm watching the subbed version, and I'm like, damn, I gotta actually look at the screen now. Shoot. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that. I know, it's so localized, but very funny voice acting. Highly recommend the manga. The anime ran ahead of Zatch Bell manga and had to do an FMA. Yeah, sometimes you gotta give it the Brotherhood treatment, right? The author broke his hand. Ooh, oh man, that's like my worst nightmare, is like being crippled, not able to draw or write. You have to like verbally explain everything. And happy Friday to Young Wavy. Heyo. I like this background. Looks more spooky than the usual one. Yeah, you know, that's one way to view it. It is like a little bit more, it's like I'm in a haunted warehouse. We even got like the mysterious black goo dripping from the corner. It's perfect. Intentional. Totally intentional. There you go. And Dannphan is now a Friday streaming channel. Yeah, that's all that's all I do now. Oh man, what are we gonna do? Zatch Bell and Yukio had better names in the dub. Maybe, I don't know. I know, let's see. So, can I even remember the names in the original Yu-Gi-Oh? I think Taya was originally named Anzu. Taya sounds prettier. I'll give it that. Joey actually kind of makes sense, because I think his original name was Jonichi. And it kind of sounds the same. It sounds like it could be a nickname of Jonichi, just calling him Joey. So that's not even that bad, honestly. You know, that's pretty solid. That's good. I think that's all I remember as far as like comparing the new names to the original names. I'm surprised I even remember that much. It's been a long time since I've been on the Yu-Gi-Oh train. Will you be doing a cosplay stream for Halloween? Maybe. Maybe I'll do a Halloween costume stream. I still have my Crusader outfit. Just every Halloween from now on, dressing up like a Crusader gal. It's the best. The best costume. Giving serial killer pad vibes. Maybe. Come to my warehouse, babe. I got black goo dripping from the corners. Bloodstains on the floor. You're gonna be nice and comfortable here. How's the progress on Reaper 2 going? You are working on some pages last week, but I don't think you ever mentioned a number. So Reaper 2, thank you for asking. We're on chapter 3 right now, I think. No, we're on chapter 4. We're on chapter 4. Gergie, you're distracting me. You're very cute. But you're distracting me. Adorable dog over there, by the way. Yeah, we're on chapter 4. We finished chapter 3. Sorry. That was the last one that I finished. But I'm working on chapter 4. I've got like maybe 2 pages done so far. As far as like done. But I'm in inking mode, right? So I'm doing the inking for the pages currently. And I'm hopefully gonna get a lot done soon. But yeah, after that, it's just like 2 more chapters. And then we'll be done. Well, not done. I guess we still have to do some chapter covers, some of the extra pages. Obviously, the main story needs to have editing done to it. People need to read it. They need to point out typos, beta reading, and whatnot. And they need to point out art that looks super fucked up and that needs to change. And then I need to fix that stuff, which is the whole other step, right? And then we send it to the printer. Then I get it back from the printer, etc. Campaign fulfilled. But yeah, I think overall I've been making pretty good progress. I do obviously wish I was working much faster. But isn't that like always just the wish of anyone who's working on a comic, especially a very, very long comic like this one? I decided to do my comic series in books that are each one complete story arc connected on a much longer story arc, which I think is a unique way to do it, but I kind of like that way of doing it because it's organized. Like I pick up One Piece, right? They have multiple books for just one arc. And this is on a much even bigger overall arc, which is the entire series. And one of the things I like that they do is they at least started doing this. They didn't always do this, but they started putting on the book which arc it is. So, you'll have a book that's labeled Skypiea arc or whatever fucking arc, right? But then I thought to myself, like, what if each arc was just shorter and you fit it all in one book? And then you just had it be the subtitle. And so that's my idea with Reaper, essentially. The Reaper series is done in that way, where it's like each book is kind of like its own mini arc on a much bigger, longer arc, which is the series. And then each subtitle is just telling you what arc it is. Nice. Organized. Understandable. People can actually jump in on the series and understand what's going on. I love it. That's my thought process anyways. But yeah, maybe a little bit different from what people are used to. art streams? Yes, soon, I guess. Soon. Um, I have, like, I was thinking I would do some chapter covers when I start, like, streaming on the main channel again, some art streams. I was thinking maybe I should pull out, like, chapter covers and start inking those up on a stream. I feel like that's achievable anyway to finish on a stream. And obviously I'm doing the Discord streams. In a way, I've kind of labeled the special Discord streams as being like the spoiler stuff for people who maybe don't want to get the spoiler pages. You can always just like watch the streams on the main channel, although there will be less of it, right? Your clothes make you look like you're in jail? Oh, what? Because I'm wearing orange? You know, I do have another shirt that is literally black and white stripes. For a minute, I was like, am I wearing that shirt? But no, I wasn't. Forget that they switched up the prisoner uniforms to be bright orange now. Ugh. Let's see. I've never seen any streams of yours before, but I wanted to say I love your videos. Aw, that's so nice. Thank you. My Friday is going much better now, thanks to you. All good things come to those who wait, so it's said. Yeah, right. I do hope that people enjoy the next book when it's ready. Then I got to work on book 3, but I do have another different project planned for next year while I'm working on book 3. So hopefully, like, it'll make the wait seem less horrible. But I am very excited to continue work on the series while also continuing to improve my art. I think things are going well overall. So, thank you guys. So nice. I saw a tweet recently where people were kind of blackpilling about indie comics in general. Well, they were blackpilling for a couple of different reasons. They're basically saying that a lot of people getting into indie comics are just like uncreative hacks, right? They're just grifting. They're trying to make money off of whatever YouTube audience that they have, and they don't actually care about the product that they're making, or even worse, that they're just doomed to be untalented forever, right? Which I think is an even worse insult than just their grifting, to say that they're like just doomed spawn that cannot create anything creative. I think everyone has the potential to create something good. The issue that some people have is just that you gotta try and you gotta learn. You gotta try and you gotta learn. You gotta be willing to take the time to keep trying and keep learning. And some people don't really care about those steps. So some people want to try to take shortcuts, right? But to point out a very specific example, people very often will trash Young Rippa, right? For the Rippaverse. And I get it. A lot of people who have read the books, I have not read them, but a lot of people who've read Isom were really disappointed. And some kind of angry. And, you know, I look at them and I think to myself, like, but you kind of should have known that it wasn't going to be that good. Or at least you should have had lowered your standards a bit. Because I knew that it was not going to be amazing. And that's no, like, insult to Young Rippa exactly. But it's just the fact that it's the first thing this guy has ever written. Ever? Nobody just like writes something for the first time and it's a fucking masterpiece. Nobody. It just doesn't happen. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of learning to get better at writing. Same thing with art. Art is a little bit more like visually apparent when you've gotten better at it. But writing is a little bit more obscure. And some people can like forgive writing being rough in indie content. Same thing with art, right? Because they see the potential of it getting better, right? And, you know, to come away from that, to read a comic and be like, or to read an indie comic, back a campaign and be like, well, this isn't good, so therefore all indie comics are not good. It's just a very black pill take. You took a chance on a comic made by somebody who'd never written anything before. You did not have like the expectations that you should have had, quite frankly, but you took a chance, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with taking a chance. If you're interested in a premise, then maybe it doesn't matter to you that it's coming from somebody who's inexperienced. That's your own, that's your own choice to do that. But I don't think it's very fair to just walk away from that and be like, well, all indie comics are bad. Every YouTuber is grifting whenever they come out with a comic. Don't trust anyone who's doing an indie comic campaign. Yeah. So that's just not the right takeaway, I feel. And I get it. There definitely are some people out there who are just taking advantage of the fact that they have an audience, and they're like, well, I'm going to monetize my audience. What's a way to do that? And then they think that some shitty thing that they wrote in high school is the way to monetize their audience, because they want the stroke of the ego to be like, oh, well, if they think that I'm also a really good writer, then I get double the backpats, because I get like all the money from them, and then I also feel smart, right? I've seen YouTubers like this. I'll say that much. But I don't know, man. Some people... Relax. What are you freaking out of? He heard me click my lips, and then he's just like, what's going on? So, chill out. I don't have a shock collar on you. You're fine. Sorry. All right. Yeah. Some people really are passionate about making comics. And some people just want to create that alternative, even if they are not experienced in doing so. Even if they don't know what they're doing, they just want somebody to do something, and they think that maybe they're the person to do it. But yeah, writing is hard, art is hard. All of these things take a lot of work to get better at. You're not just gonna boom, be good at it. It's difficult. And some people just have way too ambitious goals, I think. Granted, my goals have always been like kind of modest, but some people just really go for it as far as what they want their goals to be. Some of those YouTube comics are crap, whether their intent is honest or not. Let's see, they're just jealous. Most indie comics are better than whatever pandering slop is coming from DC and Marvel. Weirdest thing is when the first thing someone makes is great and everything else that comes after is trash. It's rare, but it can happen. A lot of people blame that on ghostwriters, believe it or not. I don't know if it's true, but a lot of people say that it's because they have a different kind of influence when they first start, and then when they get the success, they think that they don't need that influence anymore. So they like kick someone off the team who was never credited, and then everything they make is trash afterwards because they're missing that secret ingredient, But I don't know. Part of it could just be that they're very inspired to make that first thing, but then when they force themselves to make other things, they're not as inspired anymore, so it just doesn't come out the same. That's also very possible. Don't be a glooming doomer. Yep. Very well put, Gabe. Thank you. Now, I have my skepticism of indies, mostly because of Phil Fish. I don't know who that is, but that's a very goofy name. You still have to keep an open mind. Yeah. No, I would say that's accurate. I'm pretty critical of the indie comics that I review here on the channel as well. I'm pretty open about it, but I'm also still willing to give them a shot. And I'm never so doomed out that I would say that you can't back any indie comics because they're all going to be bad. I understand that it's going to be a mixed bag. I understand that people who are just starting to get into this weird indie comic culture, I understand that they're not going to be perfect in how they, especially when you have so much pressure on you to get these books out so fast. That's why I keep on telling people, like, hey, if you're starting indie comics, maybe start with one-shots. Maybe start with something that you don't have to fully commit to for a very long time. Especially if you don't have much experience writing, please. But some people just want to, like I said, way too ambitious of goals. A lot of people just want to dive in as quick as possible. They just want success now, and they refuse to take anything short of complete, glowing, phenomenal success. But, that's how it is. Hey, may I suggest buying and reading comics from Burning Star Comics? Hell yeah, Gabe. Thanks for the plug. Hey, I got a Halloween discount on Burning Star Comics. Use code SPOOKY. Use the discount code SPOOKY. You get a discount at checkout. Just for the season, guys. Hell yeah. Yeah, Gurgi wants to appear. I guess so. Say my name. I know you're talking about me as one of those YouTubers who abuses their fan base to pull an indie comic scam. Yeah, it's definitely you. Oh, man. Don't shock Gurgi. Don't worry, Gurgi's safe. I would never. There are some real gems out there in indie comics, but publicity is a real problem in the news sphere. Yeah, everyone who's doing comics nowadays, it feels like they all have to go online and do the whole song and dance, like, please buy my comic, it's not just, it's when it comes to indie comics, it's really not just YouTubers who are turning their platform into a way to monetize it. That does happen, but that's not always what is happening. A lot of it is people who are trying to do comics full time, and then they're using the social media aspect. They're using YouTube as a way of promoting themselves for what they actually want to do, which is the comics. Sometimes it's like the other way around, really. Because you kind of have to. If you're trying to sell yourself online, you're kind of forced into doing social media to sell yourself. Let me see. Especially gives indie creators a bad name when they promise campaign after campaign and none get fulfilled. That's very brutal too, yeah. I get it to some extent why certain campaigns get delayed. Certain ones. Some I don't get at all. Some are just like confusing to me, like, really? It's only 20 pages and you got delayed by 2 years? How'd that happen? But sometimes I get it. Sometimes it makes sense. It's a lot of pressure, right? Getting out those books at a consistent time frame, especially if they're different lengths or you're encountering different problems, or if you're trying to do more ambitious things. Sometimes you decide to do something special for a campaign, but that special thing that you decided to do is taking more time. And that's really bad. That's really rough. It's hard to navigate that. Yeah. After hearing people on YouTube talk about all the pandering slop from Marvel and DC, I decided not only fall back on the good stuff from the two companies, but to go for some of the indies. Well, I hope that you find something that you do enjoy. Yeah, excuse me, sir. Do you have time to talk about our Lord and Savior, Burning Star Comics? Hell yeah. I suggest Reaper, Sonic City Witch, and It's Not Like Getting a Job Will Kill You. Very good recommendations there. All solid books. Thank you. Been a long time since that last streaming I was here. It's nice to come back. Have a good weekend. All right. Yeah. I'll see you, El Kraken, next time for sure. We are a little bit over the hour now, so it is kind of, it's kind of around that time to say goodbye and goodnight to everybody. But no, I don't have any water left. Tragic. I will leave you with saying this. Yes, you are going, if you're backing indie comics, yes, you are going to encounter some that do not live up to professional standards. You should be expecting this. I know that there are many indie comics out there that are trying to reach professional standards, but the majority of them are not going to do that. Majority of them are gonna just fall below what we consider professional, right? And this is fine if you understand this going in. Don't set your expectations too high, especially when you're dealing with new writers or new artists, people who are just doing this for the first time, You should be impressed if they actually do reach those professional standards. I wouldn't completely disregard indie comics, though. I think that there are real potential in this sphere that we've created over time. And I'm hoping that we pick up steam again, like we had in 2020, for example. Indie comics, I hope it has this big second boom. I'd like to see new creators coming out and doing their thing. It feels better. It feels like indie comics are doing much better when you see so many new faces coming onto the scene and really genuinely talented people coming onto the scene, because they also see potential in doing it on their own, as opposed to going with some big company that is going to essentially take ownership of their work, not really do much to market them. There's all these issues with going to mainstream comic book companies. And for now, anyway, the most obvious solution is just doing it on your own, especially if you're going to be doing all of the marketing on your own anyway. When you do go to these big companies, yeah, I'd say that it would make sense for you to just start there. But for those of you buying, just understand that a lot of these people are going to be inexperienced. But sometimes you can just tell when something is filled with real, raw passion versus somebody just seeing it as this easy paycheck that they can get. I have encountered comics that feel just like a paycheck, just a cash grab. No passion, no creativity, nothing. Those are the worst to read. Honestly. Out of everything, bad writing, whatever. Bad art, whatever. The worst to read are the ones that feel passionless. Those are the worst ones. The bland, generic slop. It just has no direction, no value, nothing. Those are the worst ones. So long as you can sense some bit of passion on the page, I think that's enough. I think that's enough for indie comics going forward. Just nudge them in the right direction. For God's sake, review, guys. Review the indie comics that you read. If it's not good, let people know. Let people know, hey, you need to improve this, this, and that. But if you say nothing, they are not going to improve. They're not going to do anything, you know? And reviews are underrated. I try to review as many things that I read as I can. Obviously, it's tricky, but I'll do more indie reviews sometime soon in the future, for sure. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining me for another fantastic Friday stream. It's been wonderful. It's been great. We had some good discussions. There are some things I didn't get to, but that's fine because there will be other Fridays in the future, so long as I remember to talk about these other things in the future. Thank you for joining me. It's been good. Have a good night. Have a good Friday, and I'll see you next time. New video out next week, hopefully. Hopefully I'll be done editing it by then. So, bye, everybody.